Quotes from Richard Sibbes. From the Kindle, Deep Christian Quotes and Bible Verses. First quote. What unthankfulness is it to forget our consolations, and to look upon matters of grievance. To think so much upon 2 or 3 crosses as to forget 100 blessing. Second quote. God is goodness itself, in whom all goodness is involved. If therefore we love other things for the goodness which we see in them, why do we not love God, in whom is all goodness? All other things are but sparks of that fire, and drops of that sea. If you see any good in the creature, remember there is much more in the Creator. Leave therefore the streams, and go to the fountainhead of comfort. Third quote. What coward would not fight when he is sure of victory? Fourth quote. As the strongest faith may be shaken, so the weakest, where truth is so far rooted that it will prevail. Weakness with watchfulness will stand, when strength with too much confidence fails. Weakness, with acknowledgment of it, is the fittest seat and subject for God to perfect His strength in. For consciousness of our infirmities drives us out of ourselves to Him, in whom our strength lies. Fifth quote. Faith, whereby especially Christ rules, sets the soul so high that it looks down on all other things as far below, as having represented to it, by the Spirit of Christ, riches, honor, beauty and pleasures of a higher nature. Sixth quote. Death is only a grim porter to let us into a stately palace. Seventh quote. We are only safe when we wisely make use of all good advantages that we have access to. By going out of God's ways we go out of His government, and so lose our good frame of mind, and find ourselves overspread quickly with a contrary disposition. When we draw near to Christ, James 4:8, in His ordinances, He draws near to us. Eighth quote. The tenets of the Christian life seem paradoxes to carnal men, as first, that a Christian is the only freeman, and other men are slaves. That he is the only rich man, though never so poor in the world. That he is the only beautiful man, though outwardly never so deformed. That he is the only happy man in the midst of all his miseries. Ninth quote. God takes a safe course with His children, that they may not be condemned with the world. He permits the world to condemn them, that they may not love the world hates them. Tenth quote. Christ chiefly manifests Himself in times of affliction, because then the soul unites itself most closely by faith to Christ. The soul, in time of prosperity, scatters its affections, and loses itself in the creature, but there is a uniting power in sanctified afflictions, by which a believer, as in rain a hen collects her brood, gathers his best affections unto his Father and his God. 11th quote. When we shoot an arrow, we look to the fall of it. When we send a ship to sea, we look for its return. And when we sow seed, we look for a harvest. So likewise when we sow our prayers, through Christ, in God's bosom, shall we not look for an answer and observe how we speed? It is a seed of atheism to pray and not to look how we speed. But a sincere Christian will pray and wait, and strengthen his heart with promises out of the Word, and never leave praying and looking up, till God gives him a gracious answer. 12th quote. God's children improve all advantages to advance their grand end. They labor to grow better by blessings and crosses, and to make sanctified use of all things. 13th quote. If believers decay in their first love, or in some other grace, yet another grace may grow and increase, such as humility, their broken-heartedness. They sometimes seem not to grow in the branches when they may grow at the root. Upon a check grace breaks out more. As we say, after a hard winter there usually follows a glorious spring. Thanks.